All right, everybody, welcome. It is 6:07 on Tuesday, May 20th. This is the May Human Relations Commission meeting, and I'm going to share my screen here. Cool. Carlos, I will pass it off to you.
Gracias, Cristian. Buenas tardes a todos. Siendo las 6:08, damos inicio a nuestra reunión de hoy, día 20 de mayo. Espero que todos hayamos tenido un buen inicio de mes y qué bueno verlos a todos el día de hoy. Vamos a nuestro punto número 2, que es si tenemos algún ajuste en la agenda. ¿Alguien tiene algo?
I do, and this
Ok.
is just a oversight on my part. The agenda that I sent out in the packet had under discussion, informational items, the difficult dialogues, and review/approval of the revised handbook. The review and approval of the revised handbook requires a vote. And so having read said handbook, I need to move that under the action item so we can vote on it. So just requesting that we do that.
Good.
And that is all I have for you, Carlos. Sorry about that.
Also, just to let people know, I have a class that I have to get to tonight, so I'm only here for the first hour. I'll have to take off. So, hoping that will not be too disruptive.
Yo creo que nos vamos a llevar tal vez rápido esta reunión, Aaron, es muy corta, esperamos que puedas llegar a tu clase. Bien, entonces, nuestro punto número 3, vamos a aprobar las minutas del mes pasado. Si están de
Motion to
acuerdo,
approve last meeting.
necesitamos una
I
moción,
second.
perdón. Ok, good. Thank you. Gracias a todos. Seguimos con nuestro punto número 4. Comentarios abiertos. Te paso la palabra, Cristian.
We are flying along and we do not have anybody here tonight to make public comment. It looks like no additional guests.
Muy bien. Gracias. Entonces, nuestro siguiente punto es temas de acción. ¿Alguien tiene algún tema de acción? Oh, sí. Tenemos la revisión de nuestro manual.
Yes, and I am going to stop sharing my screen so we can all see each other in case there's some conversation here. All right, so just remembering back to the April meeting, we had the updated commissioner's handbook. This is a full 30 pages. Thank you very much to the subcommittee that came together. Emily, Elizabeth, Roberto, our colleague in the city attorney's office, met several times over the course of a few months to go just about section by section and revise the handbook. It was requested at the last meeting to have some more time to look it over. And so we are returning back to it just to see if there were any questions, comments, anything, conversation around the revised handbook there.
No comments on my end.
Pues yo
I know we
creo
talked
que
about-
sí. Yo creo
Alright, go
que
ahead, Carlos.
después de revisar el manual, yo creo que sí se acortó un poco al manual que teníamos anteriormente. Yo creo que estaba un poco mejor comprendido para mí. No sé los demás, y yo creo que sí, 30 páginas no son muchos de leer, ¿verdad? No es mucho para leer. Yo creo que sí lo podemos leer tal vez en 2, 3 días, este manual.
I agree
Uh,
with Carlos. I also thought it was easier to understand, even though I'm not remembering the original too well. I know we said that we'd take some time to look over it. I had a little bit more time to look over it, and I feel good with how it is now.
All good here.
That is
Ok,
great
bueno,
feedback.
si ya no tenemos más comentarios sobre el manual, necesitamos una moción para aprobar este manual.
I move to approve the manual.
I second.
Muy bien, gracias a todos. Entonces estamos de acuerdo con este manual y esperemos que los próximos comisionados que vengan tengan la oportunidad de leerlo y se actualicen como nosotros, ¿verdad? Gracias. Entonces vamos a las discusiones informales y tenemos una discusión informal aquí que es una conversación sobre diálogos difíciles. Creo que hay una actualización que tenemos, Cristian.
Yes, so this is coming back to the ongoing conversation that we have had as a commission for almost going on a year now. If you looked in the meeting packet, the page after the April meeting minutes, I put together a little bit of a timeline of this conversation to kind of keep us on track. And a few guiding questions to help us make sure that we are staying within sort of the Human Relations Commission mission. So that is one piece there, but also I did have a chance to connect with Dr. Ho, who had some new information to share and some opportunities for the commission to consider. So I'm not sure sequence-wise what would make the most sense. I can share Dr. Ho's update, and then we can get into a sort of conversation around the sort of initiative and where we're going with this as a commission. Seeing nods from Emily, sounds good. All right. So from Dr. Ho, there were two pieces of follow-up. One is, as we all know, the Difficult Dialogues event series that is hosted in part by the CU College for Humanities and the Arts, has a fall event planned for roughly late September. The exact date is still to be determined. The theme of this conversation, this Difficult dialogue event would be the theme of immigration. And just, she left it at that for right now. The opportunity would be to collaborate with College of the Humanities and Arts in bringing the sort of putting the event on. It could look like just helping advertise and get the event information out to the community so they may attend and they can participate in the event, or she is kind of open to conversation on that. So that is one piece. The second piece is we had some interest after a small group of us attended a pilot of the interview game, which was in February, if I am remembering correctly. And so the interview game, at the end of that pilot session, we discussed the possibility of being trained in facilitating the interview game. And essentially, just to sort of jog folks' memories, the interview game is a sort of facilitated dialogue to bring folks on either end of a spectrum of a particular conversation together to connect as human beings and discuss a more than likely contentious topic. So that opportunity is still available. The game itself is the license is held by a individual in Boulder who is actually in the middle of putting on a event series this weekend and next weekend, which we'll talk about more about in the staff update. But the opportunity is there. They are aware that the HRC is interested in the possibility and have offered to have some conversations if we want to have a subcommittee. Aaron, I know you have been primarily driving the this initiative forward, so we have the possibility to have more conversations there around what that might look like and how we can make that happen if there's still interest among the commission.
Sounds good. I love hearing it. Sounds like some good movement.
Beautiful. So I think those are my two updates from Dr. Ho. I think also just wanting to spend some time making sure that we are clear on sort of like what our goals or goal of doing these actions or doing these things would be, and how that relates to our mission as the Human Relations Commission here. So I put in the meeting packet just some questions, and I am now realizing that I don't have the meeting packet in front of me. So does anybody have that, or I can pull it up? Just give me a sec.
Did you want me to screen share it?
Sure, that would be terrific.
It's on the one pager?
Yes.
Yeah. Oops, I can't share.
Oh,
Why don't I just put the questions in the chat?
that would be great. I just made you a co-host, so you should be
Oh,
able to
okay.
share now. Maybe. Okay, so we're looking at sort of the current discussion here. We have these two. We have these two possibilities in front of us, and our last conversation around this was in February, where we had some discussion on what the goals or goal of moving this effort forward would be. And then there was an agreement we need to talk about this more and get clear on why we're doing this, what we're hoping to see, like what are the sort of like outcomes that we're hoping to see of our efforts here, and make sure that those are connected to what we set out to do as the Human Relations Commission. And so just want to open up the floor here for some conversation around that.
Yeah, I guess I'm definitely seeing this as, in terms of if we are to act as public relations support for Dr. Ho's events, I'm definitely seeing it as in alignment with us supporting furthering human rights in the city of Boulder. And we've heard from multiple community members that immigration is a really important topic, and especially politically right now with what's happening with the federal government, it's a very important topic, I think, for our commission. Then we have kind of going back to the genesis and why, Aaron, why you brought this to our commission, and this doesn't necessarily directly forward advancing kind of relations and supporting dialogue around the Gaza genocide. So personally, I feel excited about working with Dr. Ho, continuing to work with her, and it doesn't seem like a heavy lift on our end to be promoting it. And I guess, Christian, I'm also curious if she asked for any other type of support, like even if we can just be at the door greeting, handing out handouts, like if she wanted on the spot kind of day of support, I'm definitely open to that too. But I'm wondering, especially from Aaron and Carlos and Ficker, what you all feel about kind of not shifting away from, but certainly not directly forwarding that goal of supporting dialogue around the Gaza genocide.
Yeah, I mean, I think dialogue in general is better. I think this is helping the community talk more. I think the issue of Gaza was like, it was bubbling up as like the most immediate thing that's like the symptom. But the sense I got was like the real thing is we wanted to make sure our community is in better dialogue around things that matter. And so I think continuing to support this is super aligned with that. And I think we might be more effective if we like just continue to support dialogue in general, and not wade too much into an issue that can be incredibly contentious. Especially when, like, I know there's been people who have like felt that the Human Relations Commission has been too like politicized around this. And so by like staying at this, it's like helps ensure that we're able to affect the issue without it like becoming this thing that, I don't know, might not get to what we actually want to get to. So regardless, I'm totally with what you're saying of like, I think we should totally support. I think it's a light lift and I think it's impactful and overall aligns with what we care about.
And just calling out in the chat, Ficker, fully agreeing with Aaron. Well stated.
Do we have a sense, Christian? So the other question you had asked was around getting trained in the interview procedure. And personally, especially if we're going along the lines of what Aaron was saying about promoting dialogue as a form of conducive conversation across difference, I do think it would be worth maybe even just on a voluntary basis, having us get trained, but I don't know, especially on Dr. Ho's side, what kind of time commitment that is. So want to make sure, I guess I want to make sure it's also worth her time.
I did not get a whole lot of information on what that necessarily would entail. The interview game is licensed by an individual named Ami, their last name I'm forgetting right now, to the College of Humanities and the Arts. And the idea would essentially be to facilitate the game. The idea would essentially be we purchase a license or something along the lines to also like be trained and able to facilitate the interview game.
Yo estoy de acuerdo, me gustan todas estas ideas que está dando tanto Emily como Aaron. Y yo creo que podríamos aplicarlas aquí en la comisión si podríamos o si se puede, ¿verdad? Pero me gustan todas estas ideas y yo estoy de acuerdo en que si las podemos llevar a cabo.
Wonderful. In order to continue moving the work forward, don't necessarily want to put you on the spot if you don't want to be on the spot, Aaron, but just wanting to see who how do we want to do this? Do we want to make a subcommittee to continue conversation with Dr. Ho, or what do we think is best there? Ooh, Aaron, if you're talking, which I think you are, you're on mute.
I am on mute. I was saying, yeah, I think that seems like a good idea. Subcommittee to talk with Dr. Ho. But yeah, if anybody else has any ideas beyond that, super open hearing them. Seems like that's a good pathway then. Cool. What would be the next steps for that, Christian?
Next steps pretty much would be to have some conversation with Dr. Ho around and Ami around the licensing, and then I think she is going to follow up with me in particular about the fall event, so I can get something on our calendars, Aaron, and connect us by email to work that
Sweet.
out.
So it sounds like you'll initiate that. I'll be on that some commission, and I'm curious who else would be interested in joining for that. And no worries if no one has the bandwidth. I'm happy to keep representing us.
Thanks, Aaron.
Yo también podría apoyar si gustas, Aaron, pero necesitaría saber.
Cool.
Yo tengo más tiempo por las tardes, ¿verdad? Si hay más oportunidad.
Cool. Yeah, my schedule is flexible, so maybe Christian, you can help coordinate that.
Absolutely.
Cool. Sweet. Thanks, Carlos.
I think that is all we have for difficult dialogues for now. There sounds like we have a subcommittee, we got some next steps, we got some clarity on moving forward. So Carlos, pass it back to you.
Gracias, Cristian, gracias a todos. Vamos a nuestro punto número 7. Actualizaciones del personal de la ciudad. Y aquí le voy a pasar la palabra a Cristian otra vez y a Elizabeth.
All right, and bear with me just a sec. I'm going to share my screen here. Oops. And as usual, while I'm getting to these slides, and sorry if I'm making you motion sick by zooming through this. As usual, I will send out this information. As you'll see here, there is much to be determined still in terms of a very event-heavy June coming up. But first on the list here, as mentioned before, we have the conversation part 1, the Israeli-Palestinian conversation, which is happening this Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, as well as next Thursday, Friday, and Saturday from 7 to 8:30 p.m. at the Derry Arts Center. And so this will be as I understand, dramatization of or involving the use of the interview game to have a conversation between folks on either side of the Israeli-Palestinian conflict. And so this is the event that Ami Danyan, I believe, I lost the chat, but thank you, Elena, for putting that in there, is putting on. And so that's why they're busy and we can't have conversations around the interview game until the beginning of June, because this is happening. But Dr. Ho thought this would be a great opportunity to see the interview game in action and to kind of bring it back to the initial catalyst for us having this conversation. Tickets are, I believe, between $15 to $30. But it's a great opportunity over at the Derry Arts Center, and Dr. Ho herself will be facilitating at least a portion of the event on Thursday. So that is the 22nd, the opening night. And also an invitation extended from Dr. Ho to join College for the Humanities and Arts Fall 2025 book club, which will be reading The Fantasy and Necessity of Solidarity by Sarah Schulman. You can find more details at the link there. If you are one of the first 150 people to join the book club, I believe you get a free copy of the book. You do need to register, or you can go, looked like there were open office hours that you could go and register in person and grab a copy of the book if you're amongst one of those first few. Moving right along, we have, as mentioned before, HRC recruitment will begin in the, Elizabeth, correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe July, I want to say, is when.
Pretty sure it's June 22, but let me check that real quick.
Okay. So recruitment will begin, second round of recruitment will begin June 22, and we'll have more flyers, updated flyers and details on that to share out. And then Elizabeth not to put you on the spot while you are looking for that detail, but the next point
I
is the,
actually have it and we're both wrong.
okay.
So the applications are open for HRC, and there are a couple of other boards and commissions that also are kind of re-recruiting from June 30 through July 18. And then interviews are July 21st through 25th, and then appointments would take place on August 14th at a city council special meeting. So anyway, the next milestone for recruitment is when that window opens up for applications on June 30th.
Thank you very much. And I will get that information out to you all as well, so you can share with your networks. We are trying to cast a wide net and stay true to the sort of founding ideals of the Human Relations Commission of being a commission that reflects the various forms of diversity within the Boulder community. Next point is the dinner and discussion with City Council. Elizabeth, did you want to take this one?
Sure. So you might remember way back to our last meeting, where Christian and I shared that there is some conversation among city council members that they're interested in having a conversation about how the human rights ordinance is kind of able to serve or help with protections for various members of our community that are in protected classes, understand a little bit about what kinds of inquiries come in, what demand there are for those protective services, and that they would like to have that conversation with the HRC. So we've talked, Christian and I, with some other city staff whose responsibility is both to set up dialogues like that. It would not take place at a city council meeting, but before a council meeting, which happens occasionally with other groups. One example is our Youth Opportunities Advisory Board has an annual dinner with city council. It's more of kind of a social and discussion than it is a meeting, either of the HRC or city council. And so in order for that to take place at a time that when city council is not already pretty slammed with other similar kind of additional meetings and events, it's probably going to take place sometime in the fall. Originally, we thought maybe that would be a little bit later in the summer, but it looks like their schedule is pretty packed at that time. So stay tuned for a more specific date as we get closer to it, and some more details on the meeting. And Christian will obviously reach out well in advance when we have some actual draft dates and make sure that everyone is available for that. But it would likely be somewhere around kind of the 5:15, 5:30 timeframe, so that there can be some discussion before city council goes to its regular meeting. One more thing I will say is that it is not common for city council to just have meetings with boards and commissions. That's not really what they do on a regular basis. And so I think it is an important nuance to state that this isn't council saying, hey, we'd love to meet with the HRC. It's council, as far as we understand, saying, we would like to be able to talk about some really important topics in our community that happen to relate to the HRC's work. And we want to have those conversations not only with staff, but with the commission that serves to advise council on these issues, which is totally understandable, and we support. So that's just a little piece on that, not to be confused with kind of a, hey, let's have a meal and talk. But this is an issue we want to talk about, and so we'd like to have that conversation with the HRC.
Can I
Any
ask?
questions about that?
I was just gonna ask a question. Do I remember correctly that you all would be willing to like brief us before. Because a couple things I'm thinking of, like Christian, I'm assuming you have way more knowledge about, especially like the types of cases you might see. And obviously we can read the ordinance, but our formal purpose is to serve in that quasi judicial capacity, which I have yet to be asked to do. So I can't speak very much to it aside from, trying to put on events and be a sounding board and support of human rights more generally. So just wondering if you all could brief us and if there's anything else you'd suggest for preparation for the meeting. I know it's far in advance, but always good to plan ahead.
Yes, to the short answer to your question is yes, we can absolutely brief or however that might look. Carlos and I actually discussed the potential of, I have a newish outreach presentation that I am hoping to take out to the community, to organizations, community groups, to just spread some general awareness around the various ordinances that fall within the Office of Human Rights. And so it would look fairly similar to, it looks fairly similar to what we covered at the retreat. But we discussed having that at an upcoming, me presenting that at an upcoming meeting so that I can, one, get everybody sort of like caught back up, grounded back in the ordinances and kind of like what our function is as the commission, but also would really love some feedback from people who are not sort of in the local government sphere. And so just would love some feedback on that. So that was an idea that I believe we will see at an upcoming meeting and would align pretty nicely with the timeline for the council dinner. To include trends, data points on this year, et cetera. Anything else? Okay. Last on the list of items that I had, as I mentioned at the top, June is going to be an event-heavy month. We have Immigrant Heritage Month. We have Juneteenth. We also have Pride, all happening at various points in time in June. And a lot is still being planned. And so what I will do is, as I get information about events, I will push out to you all so that you have the info as well and can attend. And I would really hope to see you all there and also hear folks updates on how the events went, what their thoughts were, what they're seeing out in the community there. So more to come. And that is all I have for staff update.
Gracias, Cristian. Gracias, Elizabeth. Vamos a continuar con nuestro punto número 8, actualizaciones de los comisionados. ¿Alguien de ustedes tiene alguna actualización? Bueno, inicio yo. Tuvimos una reunión, Cristian, Lorenzo y yo con la policía. Vamos a tener la reunión con Orcha Group. ¿Se acuerdan ustedes que Lorenzo estuvo aquí el mes pasado pidiendo una reunión con elementos de la policía para para saber cuál era la posición de la policía hacia inmigración. Entonces ya tenemos una fecha tentativa, nada más la vamos a corroborar en cuanto Lorenzo nos diga que sí ese día está bien. La fecha tentativa la tenemos para el junio 3 a las 5:30 de la tarde en Orchard Grove. Y pues vamos a llevar a cabo esta reunión con la comunidad. Y otras actualizaciones, pues ustedes saben que yo trabajo mucho con la comunidad y he tenido reuniones con diferentes gente de las comunidades donde nos han estado pidiendo otras cosas, pero ya las platiqué con Cristian y pues las vamos a remitir a los puntos que deben de ser. Sí, eso es lo que tengo para ahorita para ustedes.
Carlos, do you need or want, you or Lorenzo want any support for that June 3rd event or anything that we could do to support that event?
Creo que no, Cristian, ¿verdad? Tenemos todo lo que hace falta, pero si ustedes gustan acudir a la reunión a apoyarnos, son bienvenidos. Ya les mandaríamos bien la información de esta reunión.
Thanks for sharing, Carlos. So I also have an update. This is actually going to be my last HRC meeting. I've recently, not recently, I've been in Denver for some time. And from what I understand, board members need to live in Boulder County, which makes total sense. And I know it's a little bit sudden, but honestly, the timing feels a little right for me. I've been feeling a little overwhelmed with work and life in general. So stepping back now and letting somebody else take the space feels like kind of the right move. I'll say that I've been on the board for a couple of years now and I've learned so much. And I feel like I've adulted through this board. And this year has been like super meaningful for me, especially because I've really seen the board go from like our meetings and efforts becoming more like action oriented and like community focused. So I'm super excited for, all the things that HRC will do in the upcoming years. And I'll definitely be keeping up with everything, but definitely wanted to let you guys know myself. Yeah.
Thank you for letting us know, and I'll really miss being on the board with you, Ficker. I've really appreciated your presence and contributions, and I wish you could still participate, and I'm glad it's opening up some space for you in your life.
Thank you, Emily. I appreciate that.
Yeah. Big same from over here. Yeah, it's been an honor getting to know you here. Yeah, wishing you really beautiful things going forward.
Thank you, Aaron.
Vicky, pues, ¿qué te puedo decir? Gracias. Es una lástima que nos dejes, pero pues las cosas por algo suceden, ¿verdad? Pero gracias por apoyarnos, gracias por estar aquí con nosotros y pues también, como los demás, te deseo mucha suerte y lo mejor en tu vida.
And
Thank
I
you,
will
Carlos. I really appreciate that.
I will just echo what everybody else has said here as well. Thank you, Vicar, for your contributions, most recently with the presentation put on by Lab to Combat Human Trafficking. It's been a big pleasure to work with you. And though this is the last meeting, I am hoping to organize, because we also had JH's departure and he wasn't at the last meeting. I'm hoping to organize a time that we can come together and just appreciate both of you and wish you well in person, so that we're not all just boxes on the screen saying best of luck and thank you. And
Yeah.
so that will be part of my follow-up with you all, just to put together those details.
That sounds great. Thank you, Christian.
Yeah, I will just very quickly add, Ficker came in to the HRC right when we were having a pretty substantial staff change. I think your first meeting was actually like a going away for the former community relations manager. And then Ingrid was in the role, and I was just coming into the role, and now we have Christian, and there's been lots of other membership changes. So just really want to acknowledge that change is the only constant, I think is the saying, or something like that. And you've just been a really steady, presence and wise, offered some very wise counsel during meetings. So like others, just thank you. The only constant in life is change. Anyway, more to say when we gather in person, but just wanted to quickly add my appreciation for you as well, and glad and that you're having a kind of very meaningful transitions in life, even though they're not taking place within the city limits.
Thank you, Elizabeth. I appreciate that. It's been a pleasure getting to know all of you guys.
Bueno, pues si no tenemos más actualizaciones, vamos a los puntos de seguimiento.
I have,
Cristian.
I have just a
Oh,
couple,
perdón.
Carlos, sorry. I just didn't want to jump in right after Ficker, your announcement. Sorry, Carlos, to cut you off. Just wanted to share that I did have a chance to go to Valerie Carr's amazing talk last month. It was super well attended, gorgeous music, along with her just she's such an amazing author and artist, so she really delivered a powerful message of revolutionary love. And her book See No Stranger is about seeing and loving people, even people who have harmed you or people that you love. So she has a really powerful message. We were her last stop on her 50 stop tour or something, so we were really lucky. So she has the book See No Stranger, and then she has a new book, Sage Warrior, that's all about kind of how to be like a humble warrior, and she draws from all sorts of the traditional stories from the Sikh tradition. And then I wanted to share, and I'll just put this in the chat, Christian, unless you want this in an email, but Modus is having another great event, a free event, happening May 31st. It's a debut of their Youth Behind Bars program, and the Reminders, who are an amazing conscious hip hop group from the Colorado Springs area, are performing, and I would drive very far to see them, so I cannot wait for them to be back in Boulder. So would highly recommend that, May 31st. They also had their monologues, their undocu monologues, at the Boulder Valley Universalist Church, which is actually the fellowship that my parents go to. So I was really felt very lucky to be in the room with them, and I'm really hopeful that they can continue to have the undocu monologue series. Obviously, there is some concern, and they're always going to be responsive to whether or not the undocu monologuists will actually be willing to present their stories. But I think it was another really impactful event, and Surge standing up for racial justice. They were outside kind of monitoring to make sure that nobody was trying to enter unlawfully. So looking forward to the event on the 31st, and their event at Boulder Valley UU was also really impactful. So just another plug. I like to plug them whenever I can. They also just lost their National Endowment for the Arts funding. That was funding, I believe, to actually take this show on the road, this Youth Behind Bars performance on the road. And it was $35,000. So if you know anybody with that are looking to donate to impactful organizations that are promoting human relations, human rights, I would highly recommend them.
Gracias, Emily, por tu comentario. Creo que yo estuve con Motus Theater y hicieron esa vez lo mismo que dice sobre inmigración. Lo vi una vez. Bueno, muchas gracias. Entonces, continuamos a nuestro siguiente punto, que son puntos de seguimiento, Cristian.
Yes, and I believe I have two, apart from getting out the staff update information as well as June events, I will, Carlos, Aaron, put you all in touch with Dr. Ho so that we can continue the conversation around that fall community dialogue and the interview game. And then please do be on the lookout for some communication. I'll be trying to gauge folks' availability for a appreciation for JH and Ficker, our outgoing commissioners, who are sad to see go, but wish you the best. That's all I got.
Pues bien, nada más tenemos nuestro último punto. Aplazamientos, algo así, Cristian.
I think that should be about it, no?
Sí,
Okay, that's it.
pues yo creo que vamos a concluir nuestra reunión y terminamos en 1 hora. Gracias a todos. Siendo las 7:01 del día 20 de mayo, necesitamos una moción para terminar nuestra reunión.
Why don't I do my last motion? I motion to end the meeting taking place May 20th, 2025.
I second your motion, Ficker.
Bueno, muchas gracias a todos. Espero que disfrutemos de la siguiente hora haciendo algo diferente, ¿verdad? Nos vemos la próxima. Gracias, Fikir, por todo. Vamos a extrañar verte en nuestras reuniones. Buenas noches a todos.